What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? I thank you guys for joining today's podcast. Today's podcast episode, Two Sides of a Track. Now, everybody pretty much knows, or you should have heard of, or some sort of a sense, knows like two sides of a track story. Just the general sense of one, and how people can be in the same city, the same town, and be living from two different walks of life, man. And a lot of times it's obviously separated by like a river or like by a track or a certain street that happens in that like certain city or whatever, that kind of separates how the socioeconomic weight classes of families and individuals are when it comes to like their children going to school, and then the different positions that they hold around, and the different businesses that are happening on both sides of the town or the city itself, man. But to me, I feel like it falls a little bit deeper, um, especially in a place like where I'm from, originally Mississippi. There's not really a point where things are kind of separated like that, because everybody kind of lives with everybody or whatnot. But it's more of a mental thing, in a certain sense, because we all kind of we all kind of go to like the same schools and things of that nature, unless you go to the private schools that are around here, or just go to like kind of Madison schools in general, like the Madison area itself. But if you like live in Ridgeland, like in a mental sense, you can kind of figure out who is more affluent than others. And a lot of times, that obviously falls upon racial lines and things of that nature. But at the same time, you can kind of see it within your own race as well. You can kind of figure out who's doing better, or like whose parents seem to be doing a little bit more when it comes to having more money, or like a two-person head of a household in certain senses, or things of that nature, man. And honestly, it's kind of psychological warfare when you think about it. Because growing up, a lot of times you look at other people, and you see the clothes that they're wearing, or you see the things that they have on their head with the different hats that they might be wearing, or things of that nature, and they might have certain earphones or whatnot. And people can't afford to be able to like try to go out for like sports teams of that nature, and be able to have the money to pay for like cheerleading stuff, which honestly to me is stupid expensive, but that's a whole nother subject. But but you can kind of see like how those things fall around in those different categories. And then you can kind of see like just individually, if you're both enjoying those same type of things, like who has it easier when it comes to making those payments, and who might have a better instrument and things of that nature, and or just be able to go and get it fixed at a quicker rate than other people, just depending on how more affluent their parents might be, or just the general um, basics of being able to know that they'll have money left over after paying for bills and paying for food and things of that nature. And for me, if it's anything and everything I could possibly do to try to diminish that type of psychological warfare that's going on in kids' minds, especially while growing up, then I think it's gonna push not only the culture for it, but it's gonna push the community for it, because kids see themselves in a very, very light but very natural type of sense, and kids are gonna be honest about how they feel and what they think is right or not. And when they see other people, they're automatically gonna want to judge how they're doing and stuff, and they're gonna be naturally inclined to want to compare themselves to everybody else and things of that nature. But if you can make it into where things are more equal, or just more equitable around every type of household in a certain sense, or that the way the school is set up, there is no type of way for kids to be able to determine any type of discrimination, whether that's racially or socioeconomically as well, then everything is going to be much easier for them to advance in the school systems that they're in themselves, and then be able to come back home and be able to live a little bit more calmer life mentally as well. Because I know a lot of people probably go through a lot of different struggles and different anxieties or whatnot about how they view their appearances and things of that nature. Because I know I've dealt with that myself, but I know other people deal with it on a way more extreme level. And if kids are able to let go of a lot of different things and be able to just focus on like school itself and be able to focus on learning and everything that they could possibly learn, then like a lot of different things will turn out differently for a lot of different people and a lot of different families. But it's got to take a concerted effort from everybody in the community and like a village like mentality, man. Like if everybody's pitching in, if everybody's doing the right things, everybody's teaching their kids the right mentalities, and we're able to have the people who have money and have other people raise up to certain money levels as well, then it makes it easier and it makes the community feel more whole and more integrated itself and be able to feel like everything is more of a unit. And when you get to those different levels, then you can start to break it down, not just from that city or that town, but just all across the county. And if you have counties doing better, then you have states doing better as well. And the next steps is the nation, and then this whole like continent itself or whatnot, and then the whole world as we start to get deeper and deeper into things. But it always starts with the little things. It always starts with the little seeds as well, man. And if we can break down those barriers and have everything be on a more equitable level and be able to have those just mental challenges be broken down and be dismissed, then everything will start to shape up and change just like differently in the world. And if we start to get our once we get those big things out of the way, I feel like school reform is a major thing that should be happening, man. And once we get to the point where public schools and private schools aren't just some elite versus regular type of viewpoint, then I think we're gonna be a whole lot better in the next coming generations and be able to push forward and be able to have a better country as a whole, man. So thank you guys for joining today's podcast. Hope you guys doing y'all thing, being safe out there, man. Always wear your mask. Always wear your mask. And y'all keep doing y'all thing. Peace.